right, ladies and gentlemen, this is your favorite dark sorcerer, Michael Hyson, aka Angelus, son of Abaddon. And today, I'd like to talk about viewpoints from that of the average human to religious point of views, things that a lot of practitioners and individuals in general really don't take into consideration about any form of religion, philosophy, or practice. Most of the mundane fear things like horror movies, okay? Things that are based off witchcraft, dark magics, titles, even. We live in a society that really has to label things just so they can understand the physical attributes of any given thing. Anyone who's ever had, say for an example, a couple misdemeanors against them, okay, and they tell you flat out in the legal system, oh, if you keep your name clear, if you keep your nose clean for 3 years, it gets expunged, okay. But then say 15, 20 years down the road, someone gets in, things get involved, and that incidents or whatever 20 years prior comes back to nip you in the ass. It's the exact same thing. And what would what this consists of is in the same complexity in magic. Okay? In any political or fundamental organization such as Wiccan and paganism, if you are not of a coven setting. Let's say, for example, you join a coven, okay, but yet you're learning what they want you to learn, but yet something over here grabs your attention and you want to learn it. You get labeled a warlock, a heretic, okay, someone a bad guy, someone not to be trusted. You're an oath breaker and a betrayer. Okay. You've gone against the coven. You've gone against your oath. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. These are things that people label. Okay. It's like with the JCI. If you're not of their god, you're of the other guy. Therefore, you become a devil worshiper. You become a servant of the devil. Okay. You're a servant. You're a child of Satan. Okay. Labeling. Labels are what make this world go around. Within any given philosophy, religion, or just community in general, people need that proverbial bad guy. They need something to label, something to blame, or someone to blame for their stupidity, their arrogance, their wrongdoings. And we see this more and more throughout our awakening. When people leave groups like the JCI and they want to expand because they've realized that witchcraft is a method of awakening, it's self discovery, it's enlightenment. They get into it, but they still hold on to this other view, this other viewpoint of devil worship, good and evil, okay, night and dark, the Ouroboros effect of the peace symbol. Okay, look at the Korean symbol on their flag. Okay, the yin yang. night and day, good and evil. Okay, this goes all the way back to the scroll of Amrin. Okay, which is out of the Dead Sea Scrolls, Sanskrit times. Okay, that's over 2,500 years. It's a dead language. Very, very few people know this language. And most of the time, it's theologians, it's historians, archaeologists that know these languages because they spend all their time studying them. They don't stop to think that practitioners such as black magicians, dark sorcerers, sorcerers in general also learn this stuff. Okay. When you become a high priest or a priestess, it is a rank that you've earned within any given organization or community, and you're seen as such. But yet, because of the JCI, people go by theirs because the church said that only somebody, a man of the cloth, can withstand the forces of darkness and practice magic. Okay. So therefore, it's no longer, nobody outside of the church is allowed to do this. So you see, anyone outside of the church is of the devil. They are a heretic. They're an evildoer. Okay. And they will be prosecuted as such. So when we look at viewpoints, good and evil, look at the ancient Greek version of Lucifer and Satan, that of light and day, God and the devil. Okay. You have Phosphoros and Hesprios, okay, in the Greek definitions. Okay. And the funny thing is that it's not just there. We go into Incan province of South America. We see Inti versus Supe. Go into the Necromaicon and you see Marduk versus Tiamat. You have Michael versus Lucifer, God versus Azazel. Okay. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay. You go through any culture, you're gonna see a celestial versus a fallen, or perhaps a demon. Go into the Greek definition. You got the daemon, which is beneficial to the mundane, the practitioner, the sorcerer or sorceress. And yet, the cocoa daemon is considered baneful. You go into Norse mythology and you see the same duality, the same conflict, light versus dark, the light elves versus the dark elves. But most people only see those two because if they'd actually done their research, they would know that there were three classifications of elven. Okay. It's the same thing with the Sith. Okay. The Sith are considered to be evil, but also females. Okay. But yet they're similar in nature to that of the Scottish translation of the Elven, which is the Sidi. Okay. And even here in America, hey, Lord Hades, what's going on? Even here in America, we have all these laws against, say, for an example, defilement of corpses. Worldwide, corpses are violated in one way or the other. Those who do the work of death are at the low end of the totem pole. They're considered poisoned. They're considered contaminated to the point of damnation. Whereas those at the hierarchy are celestial. Same exact thing. The same outlook, the same viewpoint. just within mundane perspectives. Go over to India. You have those that wait around in trash, dispose of dead bodies. People like ministers, morticians. You have people like funeral home directors, grave diggers that do the work that others don't have the stomach for. And they're considered to be contaminated, evil. And if you're not of the JCI, therefore you must be evil and you need to be eliminated. They have to wage war against you. Okay. This is something that is not new. Okay. But I find it interesting, though, when dealing with necromancy, for, at least from the Greek definition of it. Necro meaning dead, mancy meaning the art of or the practice thereof. And when we get into the necromantic viewpoints here in America, we have all these laws that protect a corpse. But yet, the funny thing is, cannibalism is legal. I kid you not. It is legal in the United States. But yet, defilement of a corpse, grave robbing, anything from disturbing a grave. You could be drunk and tip over a grave stone. You've defiled a corpse. Therefore, you're going to be charged with decimation of a grave, trespassing, even. Okay? Again, you're seeing the labeling aspects, the viewpoints of society. Hey, Tintier. So, when we get into this, people say, and I've heard this so many times from practitioners in multiple different groups on Facebook. Oh, we've evolved. We don't need to do this stuff anymore. We don't need to get into blood sorcery, or we don't need corpses. Then why are you using a skull on your altar? Why are you using bones in your practices? Is utilizing bones not considered defilement of corpses, be it animal or human? You see my point. It comes down to your perspective. People like to judge, they like to label things, but yet they don't take a look at their own actions. They don't look at their own magic. The JCI utilizes rituals, and they do it through the blood and the body of their supposed savior. They worship idols, something that they're supposed to not worship, such as the cross, the crucified savior. Okay. But yet, if you call them out on that and you quote the scriptures of the Ten Commandments, Deuteronomy chapter 5, Exodus chapter 24, you see my point. Okay. How many times have they rewritten their Bible? But yet, in chapter 22, verses 18 and 19 of the book of Revelations, it says clearly that if any man adds or takes away from this book, the same shall be done out of the book of life. I find it interesting the way they contradict themselves, but yet they're willing to accuse and label others. No wonder Christianity is not like it was 2,500 years ago. It's become corrupt, watered down, and it's spilled this corruption into so many other traditions. Lately I've been reading some books by a Russian author. She's a hereditary witch, fifth generation Slavic witchcraft. She's written Slavic witchcraft and Russian black magic. Okay. Now these books are awesome. She's got a lot of knowledge that she's put into it, but yet you see witchcraft with Christianity, calling on Jesus Christi, dealing calling on prayers, like something out of the book of Psalms. Say Psalms 23 or 24, the Lord's, the supposed Lord's Prayer. Okay. And yet within every ritual, you're seeing the same thing. Go into the Kabbalah, Hermeneutics, even, you got the tree of life. And then on the other spectrum, you have the tree of death, the Klapoth. Again, the dualism, the hypocrisy, utilizing the names of power by that of the church, the JCI, Elohim, Yahweh, and Jehovah, and many, many different more. They like to label. They like to put things into what they want. But yet, everyone else is wrong. Exactly. And they will. And it's hilarious because of the fact that the first Bible was actually the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible. And that branched off into the Vulgate Bible back in the 16th century because the Vulgate Bible was actually incorporated into the Codex Gigas. Okay? And since the Vulgate Bible, it is splintered off into the International World Edition, the American Bible, the King James, the New King James, the Masonic, you name it, it's there. Okay, it's literally splintered off like every branch of the tree. Okay, and it's hilarious. Even the Book of Tobit was about Asmodeus. The Grimoire of Raziel or Ramiel, okay, was an angelic being who wrote his own book. They made it into a mundane thing. They've corrupted so many different things that it's not even worth practicing them. And yes, that's one of the traditions right there. They utilize Kabbalah, they utilize Hermeneutics, and Masonic. And the funny thing is that they even call on their gods. And it's true. I'm not telling you to believe it. I'm telling you to go out and do your own research and you'll see it for yourself. But here's the kicker. It doesn't matter what tradition you're in. You're going to see the corruption. You're going to see the JCI's influence from every tradition out there into, or just about every tradition, going into the governments, down into the legal systems, and out into the public in their thought forms. Look at their actions. Look at how they deal. Just because you wear black, you're automatically judged as a bad guy. Okay? If you wear black, you're associated with the devil. Well, guess what? How do you explain the gravediggers? How do you explain the Catholic priests who wear black with that little white collar? Are they evil? Hmm. Didn't think that one through, did you? Okay, and these are just a couple of examples, though, of the viewpoints. It's like calling on the deitas in the same exact manner. When we look at the gods, you're going to see Ra, the sun god, versus there's Satan, which is Set. Okay, the storm god, the god of chaos. Okay, who is the symbolism of the devil. Go into Greek, you got Pan in Zeus, or Zeus in Hades. Go into the ancient Greek, Phosphoros versus his brother, the Dark Star. Okay, go into Norse mythology, you have Thor versus Loki. Okay, same exact thing, and it's worldwide. Every single religion, every single philosophy, every single corrupted text. You, even the viewpoints. People look at you and say, "How can you practice that stuff?" It's scary. It's because you don't know what it is. You haven't experienced it. You haven't felt it. You know, people look at your altar, or they come in and they take a look at your altar. They automatically assume that it's evil. Do they consider the fact that if you go into a church that those who don't practice the JCI would see that as being evil? You see, again, viewpoint. A lot of these young pups that come into the arts, the practices, they think it's about power. It's a quick fix to their ailments in life. A lot of these third world country individuals want to join something just so they can feel special, because they want to be rich or they want to be famous. Some even want to just simply provide for their families. But here's the thing, there is no get rich quick. There is no easy button in magic or any form of sorcery. Very few individuals refer to themselves as a magician. And this is because of the fact that the term magician is associated with stage illusionists like David Blaine or Chris Angel, those who do sleight of hand tricks, not an actual influencing of the elements. It's like saying you're an atheist, but yet you're a devil worshiper at the same time. It don't add up. It's just simply duality, and it's canceling itself out. People see the truth. People are going to come to you. They're going to want to learn from you. But here's what I've experienced. This is what I've seen since I came online in 2013. You have very few practitioners who actually want to learn, to grow, and to mature in the arts. After that, you have the followers, those who don't want to take responsibility, but they're learning from you. They're utilizing what you know to help themselves. But then you have what is known as the bottom feeders. The bottom feeders are the individuals whose only goal is to create disruptions. Their goal is to prevent you from doing what needs to be done, adverting your attention. Okay? I had posted a video earlier on Facebook, and a guy that's been following my work now for about a week or so is trying to tell people that he's a warrior and that he's superior, stronger even. And I got a kick out of it because I find him more as a child, literally a child, not a man, just a child, a boy who doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't even understand that what he's doing is wrong. Okay, now I could discipline him, but I'd rather have him learn for himself. So I ignore his little comments. I let it slide. Okay, because I want the world to see him for who he really is. All right. So a brother of mine who is a very well-known voodoo practitioner got under there and told him flat out, show respect. Show respect to the gods and to those who actually practice. I found it funny, but at the same time, it's like, well, I knew eventually somebody was going to do something to put this chump in his way, in his his place, but I didn't know who it would be. So these are the three types of individuals in the world. They can be classified into one of two ways. One, those who actually want to learn and are real practitioners. Okay. Now, the first one can actually be broken down into two or three different categories: the hereditary line, which is family based, the book learned, and then you have the career mages who study the practices. Okay. And then you have that of the second, the disruptions, demer- the frequency vampires, those whose goal is only to drain the life from you, to divert you, and to prevent you from doing what you need to be doing. You see, this type of individual isn't into magic. They're not into self growth or maturity. Their only need is what I commonly refer to as attention whores. And yes, I have come across a few in the last 5 years since I've come on to Facebook and YouTube as a teacher, as a guide, and as an ordained minister. Okay. I have seen this stuff and I've learned how to deal with them. And the best way that I know how to deal with them is to just ignore them. They go away on their own. Number one, they show the world who they really are. Therefore, they're defeating themselves. And number two, they're going to wear themselves out, trip themselves up, and defeat themselves anyways. So it's a win win. Do nothing, they defeat themselves either way. Okay? Now, you could get into a screaming match with them through typing back and forth on this little computer. But what's it going to prove? Absolutely nothing. The only person that can rise or fall is you. You and you alone. In magic, you need to understand two prime principles. Number one, if you're going to preach something, back it up with numerous sources. And number two, always make yourself available to the public. Okay? Because you answer to the public. Okay? So when you do something such as being in a public eye, like myself, or like say, oh, I don't know, let's go with S. Ben Cayenne, Asenath Mason, Bill Duvendak. Um, let's go with Papa Shadow. Go with the group um, Dark Sorcery, for an example. That of D.H. Thorne and Alfredo Martinez. Okay. We may go out here and teach you and show you references and show you methods into the practices, but we can't do the work for you. That's up to you as an individual to do. You either do it yourself or you fail. Doesn't mean you can't hire a black magician to do something for you. Okay? Perhaps even hire a dark sorcerer or sorceress, a necromancer, a mage, a sage, a wizard, a warlock, a witch, bruja or brujo. It doesn't matter what tradition, style, or form that you practice or that you're interested in. You can hire somebody to do it, but that's between you and them. Now, I don't believe in paying an arm and a leg for somebody's services. I really don't. I mean, I charge for the material and that's it. That's it. So it comes down to your perspective and your views. Nothing outside of that. And with that said, I'm going to leave it at that. All right. I want to thank all of you who have taken the time to comment and to join me this night. And with that said, until next time, have a good night.